Not good. Not good.
So you'd bring him back if we're up. If
I'd bring him back because they clearly have no idea what the front office. They don't have. There's no chance they have a guy in mind right now to run the team. No chance.
Wow.
None. And here's the other thing: you can't fire Farhan and not fire Kapler. Because no self-respecting GM is taking this job if Gabe Kapler is going to be the manager here. No chance. You'll have to get rid of them both. And here's the other thing. You want to hire a GM that says, no, we'll keep Gabe. Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right. If that's how it has to go down, see you later, Gabe. But Giant fans are speaking without saying it. They're not coming to the games. Verducci went national with what we already know. They're boring. This brand of baseball, it sucks. And it's playing that way out on TV, man. And you're in a city with the Warriors, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. You got the Niners with Debo, C-Mac, and Purdy. And this is what you guys go do.
925. Steiny, how come you're laughing? It's time to make a move and change the course of the organization. Listen, I wouldn't change the course of the organization right now because I don't think they even know what course they would want to go down. I mean, if you're the San Francisco Giants right now, you can't say, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to sign some big boy free agents this summer. Well, you can't count on that. Okay, we're going to call up our young players and we are going to start this process. Okay, well, you better find out how good they are first. So how's next year? If you can't sign a big boy free agent, how's next year going to change?
Oh, that's where the anger and the fear lies.
Right. So I don't have any answers. I'm just saying shame on the people that thought this team was 90-win team or something. And remember how everybody was really, really disappointed when they didn't sign Judge or Correa. They're going to stink. This is no excitement. We talked about that, right? And they hung in there for half a year, 120 games, and they just don't have enough. And I don't know. The question of what's going to happen after. I don't know.
And it's one thing to lose in baseball, but lose with heirs. And that's the part of it, Steiny. We could say there's a lot of young guys in the lineup. You got a lot of older guys. And everybody collectively is they're not focused. I mean, they're kicking the ball around. What did Willard say? He can't even watch the game with his face he's got to turn his back because the Giants, for the last 4 months with bases loaded, this has been a thing, but I've been in denial. They just, for most nights, don't get the runner home. What's the plan? What are you guys doing? And don't tell me now swinging for the fences when I thought that was the staple of this Giant team. It feels like it's time. But if you're going to tell me, Steiny, who do you got in mind? I just Googled where's Theo Epstein, Madden, remember him, manager for the Cubs,
right.
Delivered the World Series. But that goes back to the marriages around the world. Some people stay because they're afraid about what's next. But man,
yeah, I think it's a tough call. I really do with Kapler and Farhan. I do. In a way, it's like you've waited 5 years, and now, these young guys have finally begun to emerge. Have they emerged? Not quite, but they've begun to. You're going to get rid of them right as we're finding out whether they have staying power. That's why I got to give them one more year.
All right, tell me this. Here I go. Goo, I feel like I'm playing MLB The Show. Tell me if I'm crazy and you want a urine sample. If you're telling me this is going to keep up next year, you're wasting one of the best, if not the best, closers in baseball. And if you're not going to utilize him, you need to dangle him on your search to go get a big boy. So that would mean, you're weakening the bullpen, but if you're going to be this team that's not competing or is about to embark on another disastrous season, you're wasting him. So why wouldn't you dangle Doval in some type of move to get a big boy?
Duvall is one of the reasons they're fading right now. I think he's getting tired, or something's happening with him. Maybe it's not enough work, but he's not been good. Like as great a season as he had, he hasn't been good the last few weeks.
But my point is, everybody could be had.
Right, but what are you going to get for these guys, do you think?
Somebody would give a top prospect or two for Duvall, you would believe.
Maybe.
But then we're back real quick. We're back to Prospect City. How many years is that?
Mike in San Jose. What's going on, Mike? How you doing?
What's up, fellas? First, watching a little YouTube today. Goo, you're looking good on the diet.
All right, that's my guy, really Mike. Yep.
So, I call all the time during Warrior season, love the Warriors, but the Giants have probably been my longest love, just pure age. And I'll always going to Candlestick and then working my way up. I've been brutally pained for the last couple of weeks, praying that they would lose every game. So we finally would have to remove Farhan and Kapler with no choice. I've, as I've told you, been management, business, and other things. They've had 5 years. No business alive gets more than that. If you have not turned something around in 5 years, you need something new. They're boring. They're old. You sign 230 hitters that have been injured all the time, and then when you get 230 hitters that are injured, everyone acts surprised. Now, I have one thing to energize the organization. Buster Posey will never be the manager. He doesn't want the grind. He would be an outstanding head of baseball operations, from what everyone alive has said about him, his intellect, and the love he has for the Giants. That right there would show people there's a change. Now, how do we remake the roster? There are very few good free agents coming.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't imagine in 1 in 1,000 tries Ohtani would want to come here when Pollock was hitting third 3 weeks ago. And the trades to be made are fairly makeable because the Yankees, the Mets, and the Padres all stunk. And they've all announced they have to make changes. Somewhere in there are the superstars to at least energize a fan base. But my money goes on Buster to take over operations. Farhan's a good guy. Can't stand Kapler. But there's nothing to go next year for. I mean, it's just you're watching guys out of shape, and guys do exactly what they've done their whole career. And why did he expect something different? Love your show as always. Listen every day.
All right.
Guys.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Mike's dropping the mic.
Listen, I'm just going to play devil's advocate because this is one I don't know.
It's bad.
I don't have a dog in the hunt. Well, to me, what was this year? So what did everybody want this year? Didn't they want the young guys to see about the young guys? I'm just asking a question. Wasn't that part? Evan, feel free to jump in here. Wasn't part of this Giant season to get a sniff about these young guys that we've heard Farhan has had for the last 3 or 4 years on the list,
but it's not the biggest part. That's on the list. It's not the biggest part. It's your offseason, the contracts you're giving out to guys that you talked about, Steiny. There were 230 hitters. Why did you go do that? Why did you sign those guys thinking that, along with what you just wrote down before you chime in here, Evan? Why did you think that was enough? And let me tell you, Steiny, they're in no position to be like, we got a scholarship season. The goal was to get to the playoffs. And they were on that track.
Right, and it looks like they're going to fall short. Maybe because the veteran guys are wearing down. Maybe because their young players are wearing down. Here's all I'm saying. I think, yes, everybody wants to make the playoffs. But I'm not revising history. And the bottom line is, you Giants fans, a lot of you wanted to see the young players start to emerge and see what we got. And we've got Matos, we got Bailey, Harrison, Schmidt, we got Webb, Ramos, Luciano. Like, they all played for the Giants this year. They didn't have full seasons, except Bailey almost did. But what I'm getting at is those young players are just starting their careers, right? Wouldn't you say, this is Farhan's first batch of guys. They've just started. Let's see what happens next year. What if they all take a step up? Again, I'm playing devil's advocate.
This is not AAA, though, Steiny. This is the big leagues. And you saw all those guys.
What about the young players? What do you do with them, Goo?
Maybe you change the course and you try to get some veteran players.
So do you not think they're any good?
No. I like some of the guys on the list, but they're young. They all got pluses and minuses. But this is not the standard to sit here and basically have tryouts.
Okay,
next year is not about Matos, can he do this, or Ramos. We're past that. These guys were supposed to be seasoned. They were supposed to be on the roster before the season started. Right now, it's just mass confusion, Steiny. And I feel like the one thing you can't do to say why this team is in the position it is, and I'm not saying you're doing this, is pointing the fingers at the youngsters. This is about construction. This is about Haniger. This is about what? This is about stripping. This is about what the hell were you guys thinking for the bulk of this team and its identity? What the hell were you doing? That's what this is about. That has went to turd. Or it was a turd, but when it got here.
It was a great system 7 weeks ago.
I called it magic.
Great system 7 weeks ago. Charles in South City. What's up, Charles?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, good. I just want to wait on the Giants, but ultimately what I want to say, this team, I'm as passionate about my team, whether if it's football, baseball, any sport, as any other fan. But I've watched this team go up. I've watched this team go down. And I think it's just about time to put the toys back in the box and go to bed and worry about the offseason at this point and worry about next year. This team ain't going nowhere. I got nothing but faith in this team, but at the same time, looking at how things are going, I don't see it. Goo, I know you believe in this. Steiny, I know you believe in this, but I just don't see it. And I don't. For anyone who's blaming the young guys, some of them haven't even been up here for a full 2 weeks throughout the season. Some, like Bailey, have had almost a full season, but I don't think it's time to nitpick at the young guys yet. We haven't seen them do enough to nitpick at them, but. Coming next year, Farhan's on a hot seat, so if he don't make a move, then that's on him. And Goo, I'm going to borrow some from you when I say if the train is officially off the track. It is, man. I don't see us doing anything. And for anyone who thinks the Giants still have somewhat of a chance to get into the playoffs the way they're playing, I mean, come on. We haven't had a good series since, the beginning of August. That's the last time we actually had a good stretch against Arizona. And watching how that went last night, that was embarrassing. It just really shows how the fan base is just so distant from the team. But like I said, man, if we really think that the Giants are really going to get into the playoffs the way they're playing, our cheese and just let all off our cracker.
Appreciate the call.
Yeah, Steiny, I'm not mad at the young guys. And you read 6 or 7 names. Hey, I'm looking. But, man, it shouldn't be a majority. That shouldn't be the slogan next year. DC Down on the YouTube chat is like, you know, playing the youngsters for the fans. This is and paying major league prices to watch guys develop.
Well, now, you know what? See, but now that's the thing. Now, when you see what development looks like, you don't like it. Like, you don't like it. Like, what if would you be okay with somebody tearing this down, having 3 lousy years, and then being a really good team?
You're going to laugh? I think the way this thing is going, I almost would go that route with the hope of, okay, it'll be ready to take off in 3, as opposed to this, I don't know I have a problem, and we're going to keep doing the same thing. This is like scary, and nobody's coming to watch these youngsters. So I don't, you know what I mean? Like, what are Steiny? And Wilmer Flores? If you're listening, you're in Arizona. You've been a godsend. But if you're the ball. I'm stealing from Shasky. But if you're the Giants' best player, Steiny, that's a problem.
That's what happens when you get injuries. He wasn't supposed to be their best player. The other thing, here's the other rat in the table here's what I'm really hearing is Giants fans. You don't think these young guys are good?
Oh no!
Yes, it is,
dude. I love watching Matos in center field. Bailey, I'm not.
Well, then what you're doing right now, Goo, is you're trying to have it both ways.
But you can't have 6 of them in your everyday lineup. This ain't the AAA.
Okay. Well, then you're not going to develop them.
You didn't have 6 to start. You went and got these guys off the Fred Sanford's front lawn thinking they were going to turn into something. That's where you got to pay the price, Farhan. Kapler wasn't in on that. And you got me thinking, nobody's going to fire Farhan and keep Gabe. Hey, GM, you got your boy right here. So I get their joint at the hip, but the fans are
this
talking.
Is revisionist
they
history.
Don't like your food. And if you're going to tell me, Steiny, you don't care, that's fine.
No, I'm not saying I don't care. These are the same fans, okay, that at the beginning of the season wanted these young guys to play, period. I've heard Luciano's name for 2 years. I've heard Matos' name for 2 years. It's like, okay, let's see what they got. Guess what? They're not going to be world beaters right off the bat. So just acknowledge that like, you don't really want what you say you want, because that's going to involve big-time growing pains, which we may be seeing, but you don't want those.
Okay,
you want 7 great rookies and 7 all-stars. It doesn't work like that.
And I don't believe the fan base wanted that, Steiny. When you see young guys come up, they come up like almost in sectors and sections, and there's a sprinkle or a dose of them. But I'll say something about the youngsters. You know how many of them are probably dog-cussing Kapler and Farhan for getting yanked around from here to Sacramento. I hit a home run one night, and I'm out the lineup the next. The same stuff that's pissing off the veterans, they use those same mechanisms and principles, which make no sense to the youngsters. So the youngsters could really not they got yanked around. I'm not making excuses, but the theory, their mindset from up above stinks and it reeks.
You mean the same system that was working so well for them?
They were 81 and 81 last year.
No, but the 107 year and then this year. Like, they were 13 games over 500. Like, how come it worked for 95 games, but it hasn't worked for... Listen, I am not supporting these guys. I just don't see what the alternative is. And I don't...
But isn't there always a solution?
Yeah, the solution's go sign a big-name free agent, but guess what? There ain't any out there, and you can't sign them anyway.
There, free agents.
They tried to. They tried. Evan brought up a point. What if they would have signed Correa? You know what his wins against replacement are? 1.
Oh, my gosh.
You know what Brandon Crawford's wins against replacement are? -1. You know what the difference between those is? 3 or 2. 2 or 3. Yeah. They'd be in the wild card race with Correa, maybe. Is what he was suggesting. So
I hope you're wrong on the premise that you think guys don't want to come here. I really do.
You mean you hope that what you've seen for 20 years isn't real? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying they can't sign a free agent. I'm just saying, why don't we, who have they ever signed?
That's a problem.
Well, it wasn't a problem when they were winning 3 World Series.
Well, they didn't need to go. Yeah, they didn't. They had their formula. They had their.
Well, maybe the only formula here is to develop. Maybe we're like the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, we know we can't sign free agents.
Man, so you're saying 2028?
No,
my calculator came up with, and that could be being generous.
I mean, How long did it take the
Josh
Astros?
Peterson is not 18. Either is Crawford. Either is Haniger. Either is Wood. Either is Stripling. You still got some. You got some Geritol on this team still, Steiny.